Hello everyone, welcome to Tony's Good Wood. Today we are building a live edge coffee table with hairpin legs. It's an easy build. The reason why I picked this, because I have never built furniture before and I want to get over that hump. I want to be able to tell people, yeah, I built a coffee table, what of it? Let's go. That awkward moment whenever you forget to take a widescreen video of the beautiful piece of wood that you purchased. Please forgive me that you're having to see the TikTok leftovers. I wandered around a shop in Loveland, Colorado called Morning Wood. They really get the whole Goodwood thing. I love that store. It's just filled from floor to ceiling with amazing slabs. You better believe that we're going to see more of their wood on this channel. One of the saddest things about live edge is that you don't get to keep the bark on there. It's just always going to chip, slowly pull away, and then you'll have unfinished, unsealed wood. At that point, you'll have untreated lumber that is susceptible to water and various other things, and it's just not going to have the same coloring as the other sealed and primed wood. Note to self, build a mallet. You'll pound wood so much easier. Last episode, I was talking about the sanding zone. It's about to get real heavy in there. So strange are the moments buried deep in work and thought. Your hands know the motions, the tools bear their purpose well. Each speck of dust brings you closer to the true nature of your labor, of the potential of the wood. It is singular and focused, it is quiet and daunting. It is the beating back of your doubts and fears through the very nature of action. More than all of this, it is vulnerable, the no-bull exhibition of your skills and lack thereof. The wood can't hide its scars. Your shortcuts leave a mark. The clumsy turning of a blade undoes what was so carefully curated. Yet no one is born knowing. You can't get better without marring your fair share. The most we can do is take our time to be mindful of our hands and intent. Anyway, enough of that. Here I am sanding off the edges, make it a little better. If you're wondering how these work, basically it's velcroed on, and it has those little holes to be able to suck the sawdust through and try to manage some of the dust. On the far edges of these boards there were a couple cracks, and this didn't show everything that I did. I actually put a lot of wood glue in there along with some sawdust to help bind it. Wood glue is actually amazingly strong. This putty is to just give it a better finish. You basically rub it deep into the wood, you try to get it as filled as possible, you let it cure for a couple hours, and then you just sand it away. It fills the cracks. One of the only major mistakes I made on this build was getting putty that was a little too light. I should have gone a shade darker so that it would match, but it actually gives kind of a cool contrast on the finished product. And here, you are watching me make a major mistake, possibly the biggest I've made in woodworking so far. I was supposed to use a very lightly damp towel, not a wet towel. This basically ruined the coat that I'm putting on right now. It got soaked into the wood, made it puffy, made it soft, and went from having a full-on glass style finish that was so pleasing to the hand to being pulpy and a little bit gross. Here you can see some of those ridges popping up, going from perfectly flat to a little bit weird. And while in this video these colors are looking really cool so far, it all has to be done completely over. This was about 24 hours later after letting it dry, looking at all the puffiness, the complete awful nature of what I did with just that little bit of water. I also ended up putting way too much Danish oil on there, so it tacked over and turned gummy. So not only did I ruin the surface, I sealed the ruined surface badly. Danish oil loves to kill sandpaper. All of these finishes basically just put that resin in there and completely make your sandpaper awful, unusable, and you will waste so much money on all of this sandpaper because it's useless after about 30 seconds. It is starting to look better, but this is the reason why you didn't get a video last week, because I screwed up. I took shortcuts, I didn't watch enough tutorials, but look at that, it's back to good. After watching a few tutorials, I saw how you're actually supposed to apply Danish oil, and it's basically a little at a time, multiple layers. Just let it dry, let it cure, do it again. Just put a little on, a little on, a little on, rub it in with a rag or a paper towel, and watch as the finish starts to come to life as it evens out just a little more with each coat. And now we're on to the legs. I would end up putting about 2 more major coats of Danish oil on after the ones I just showed you, but I wanted to get this thing standing up. I'd also add a little more to the bottom and kind of clean it up. I thought it might get a little bit rough, so I decided not to fully finish the bottom until I had the legs on there. It's a little bit backwards, but it works. I always pre-drill whenever I'm working on these. It just makes the screws going so much easier. The way I did that was I put the legs on, I marked with a red marker, and then I just went and drilled afterwards. It's a super simple way of doing it, and it's going to make it so that you don't screw up as many of your screws. Remember whenever I said you had to mar up some of your wood to learn? Yeah, that took some time. And here we are, flipping over the first finished piece of furniture. I say finished, there's more coats that go onto it. But it was an exciting feeling actually having a piece of furniture in front of me. I was ecstatic. Unfortunately, my ecstatic is a little bit more like Captain Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Look at that. Also, one of my favorite unintended things about this build is that grain. It turned out so pretty. I'm not even sure what it's called whenever you get that. Somebody said true grain. It's not quite curling. It's just very pretty. I love it. And this is what happens when you rub your wood properly. You take your time, you get that shining finish, you get that beautiful feeling, you get to look at your work and get excited because you actually built something. And that's the entire reason why I'm here. I want to get better, I want to build things. I'm also here to sell it, so if you're interested, hit me up in those comments. Thank you all so much for watching. I'd love it if you hit that like button, hit subscribe, share it with some friends, berate me on how bad I did with that initial stain, and yeah, I will see you next week with more.